Hey everyone, I'm Mitchell, and welcome back to Let's Unpack That. So, Sagar is not here once again. Sagar booked in busy Jawani. He is traveling. I love it for him, thriving. This week has been a lot, and I want to do a more light, upbeat episode today. And so I am so excited to be joined today by Ezra Sosa from Dancing with the Stars, back with us today. Ezra, it's been a little bit of a week, you could say. How is everything going for you?
Obviously, our country is very divided right now. And as sad as I am to hear the news, it's also hard at the same time when a lot of my peers are very excited about the news and reflecting about the state of our country right now and where it could lead and where it could go. And I don't know if you saw my TikTok. I did a stupid TikTok and I posted on election, and I thought it'd be funny. And at first I was like, maybe I shouldn't say anything, but I think it's very important as a public figure to stand by something and really own it, even if you don't align with everything everyone has to say. But I think really what I'm trying to say in this moment is respect in this country is lacking very heavily. Mm-hmm. And I think for us, what we can do practicing on the left side of things is handling it with grace, but also not dimming our light at all. I feel a lot of people are going to take these election results and they're going to have so much shame around who they are now, because ultimately it's just going to suck, because the person that is going to be in office may not align with our values anymore. And we won't feel that representation in the office, and that's going to be terrible.
To your point, the last episode we did was filled with so much optimism and positivity and hope for the future. And as I've processed this and went through, all the stages of emotions and grief or however you want to describe that process, I think our community has always been given uphill battles throughout the history of the gay community. It's always been a fight.
Absolutely.
And I'm so grateful to have been able to go to so many events, and thank you to the Wisdems team for including the podcast in your outreach. And through all of that and getting to speak with other influencers who were there and speak with people in my community and peers and allies, I think just because of these results, I don't think that the community that both is within the LGBT community and those that support it, that support hasn't gone away. If anything, I think our community and our allies have to come together even more, support one another, and continue fighting for a brighter future.
Absolutely.
There's no way to know exactly what the future will be. You can't control the future, but you can control what you do and the actions that you take.
Yeah.
If you lead with positivity and kindness and respect and have honest conversations with those in your circles and help them understand where you're coming from, to take down that temperature, take down the intensity, but just honest, heartfelt conversations. If we build those coalitions and community, we'll be fighting even harder on the other side of this.
Right.
I just want everyone listening to this to know that this podcast has always been a safe space for our community, and it will continue to be. When you're here, when you're listening to these conversations, you are loved, you are supported, you are valued, you are empowered. And I hope that this can continue to be a place to uplift one another and to fight for a brighter future.
Right. Dang. Mitchell for president.
Mitchell Sosa 2028.
I'll be your running mate.
Thank you. Can't wait for that. When I was reflecting on this week, I was thinking, what do the people need right now? What can I do? What can this podcast do? And I think everyone just needs a little positivity and a different topic to think about. And Ezra, almost a year ago now, we sat here and we manifested you being a pro. I looked back when it was announced, and we really did manifest in that episode.
Holy, yeah.
And it is so exciting that now this season of Dancing with the Stars, you made your pro debut. Congratulations. The girls and the gays in Wisconsin were rooting for you. We were cheering you on.
Yeah.
How, as you just kind of reflect on your journey so far, and this can be higher level, but how is Ezra doing? How have you felt about this stage of your career so far?
Oh my gosh, like these past couple months have been insane, and I think ever since the season started, I've been on like this moving train that hasn't yet stopped. And I don't think I've even had time to process any of it. And the part that I'm really struggling with is because my partner was so divisive, and I haven't even processed it. And I'm talking to Betty who just hates Anna Delvey and is telling me how sorry she feels for myself. And then I'm running into like a Mitchell who's like, you had the most iconic partner. Like, yeah, the most iconic with the Stars history. And I'm sitting there and I'm like, I don't even know how I feel about it. And
yeah,
I think if there's one thing I did take away from it, I was like proud of myself, because I definitely think I made the best out of that situation. And that's honestly something I'm very good at, is making the best out of any situation and reflecting back on like my literal first season doing this. I wasn't
good. And your professionalism, she was professionalisming.
She was on the clock. Like she was
she was on the clock.
Rent was due. Like she was on the clock. But at the end of the day, like when I'm being a pro, it's not about me. Like when you really think about it, like, yes, you are getting to share a side of yourself to America, right? That's a given. Like everyone's gonna watch you on TV, but being a pro isn't about you. It's about giving that person the best experience ever. And with Anna, she honestly didn't know what she got herself into, and she there at the start of it was really hard for her. Like she just didn't understand. She's like, so I'm just dancing with you, and I'm like, girl, oh gosh, like okay, you're gonna hate this. Like,
we can get into it. We can get into the process, but it seems in general, like I've seen some of your posts and like you getting the tattoo and like your kind of start to processing all of this. It seems like both you personally and like those supporting you online, or even more like you're championing yourself, and like you've gotten over this hurdle, and there's so much more now to come ahead.
I even think with the tattoo of it all, it's like it was my way to claim my own story. Because like back to what I just said, it was like everyone had their 2 cents to say. And I feel like that was my way of being like, you know what? This is my first season as a pro, and I was proud of what I did. And that's ultimately why I got that tattoo.
Before we dive into Dancing with the Stars, I want to start on a high note here. I want to start light and fun. So I don't know about you, Ezra, but I feel like I have a new hyperfixation like every other day. Like something new and niche that I'm like hyper focused on and can't think of anything else.
Yeah.
And so when we've been doing these weekly, more like topical episodes, I feel like it's a safe space to share those hyperfixations.
You sound just like JoJo Siwa. I will literally tell her, like, I'll call her right here. It's like, you're never going to believe what we talked about. Hyperfixations. Yeah, she has a new one too, like every other day. This is great. Okay.
Well, great.
I love where this is.
Well, I'll share mine.
Yes.
I'll share mine, and then hopefully you have one too you can share.
Okay.
So my hyperfixations recently, they've been evolving, but one that's really locked into high gear these past few days, it was already, on the precipice, but it is in full drive now. But the Wicked movie, I'm sad. Are you a musical person, Ezra? Like, have you seen the show?
I haven't seen the Broadway. I'm like a bad
You've
gay.
never seen Wicked before?
No, I haven't. I actually was gonna watch it when I was in New York doing workshopping a Broadway show, and I was gonna watch it when I was down there, but I became a pro, so I had to come back to LA. So I never really got a chance to do it. So that's my.
You never got a chance. Okay. So it's on your list because you need to make it a priority. I mean, at very least, I hope you will see the movie. But
I think there's showings in LA right now. Like, I definitely feel like I can make that.
Okay. I am so excited. Wicked has been like such a important part of my life growing up. I've loved the message. I'm literally wearing like a Wicked themed Gap sweatshirt currently. But I am loving all the looks, seeing Ariana and Cynthia Erivo like walking up to all these premieres and like serving looks, and Jonathan Bailey just being Jonathan Bailey. I will literally be seeing the movie 3 times in 1 week just so I can fully process it all and experience your face.
Not
But
like
I'm ready.
I just haven't seen it, so I don't understand.
Oh my gosh. Okay, do you know anything about Wicked at all, like the story or anything?
Yeah, it's like Wizard
what
of
it's
Oz,
about?
like something. Blend of the
The
Good.
musical is about empowering those who are different, and that no matter your differences, you're able to thrive in the world, essentially, is what it's about.
Right.
So it's been a musical. It's very special, like for those who have been labeled different in their life. But I'm so hyped, and I hope that, Ezra, once you see the movie and the musical, that you can join me on this train. Ezra, what has been your hyperfixation?
It's country line dancing.
Country line dancing. Tell me
have you
about
ever
it. No.
Well, it all stemmed from like the day after it got eliminated, okay?
Okay.
I was at this press event with Chandler, and Chandler, who's also on the season, she loves country line dancing. So she's like, "Do you want to go country line dancing?" I was like, "What the fuck? Sure, why not?" So when I'm there, I'm like not really like getting into it, but then next thing you know, I'm seeing like this really cute guy, and next thing you know, I'm like, yeah, like I'm like really like getting in. I'm like really like tapped into like my higher dancer self, like really like as if I'm like at a dance competition, like tapped in, like really just trying to show off, and I really fell in love with it. So that's my hyperfixation. Don't see it lasting another week, if I'm being completely honest with you. So
How often do you do it?
I've been going like twice a week.
Oh my god. Okay. You are serious.
No, I love how we're both ashamed of each other's hyperfixations right now.
Is this guy always there?
Yes.
Like, okay. So is he like inviting you? Like, are you guys like talking to each other, or is he just like in his own little bubble and you're like admiring from afar?
We're chatting it up.
Okay, so you're in love, essentially. This stands for.
No. That is a very strong word. If I ever say I'm in love with someone, you need to say, "Are you okay?" Because I will never say that.
Okay, noted. If I ever scroll in on my For You page and I see you in a TikTok live being like, "I'm in love," I will be reporting it to the police.
Rose, report the TikTok so I get banned.
Yes.
Yeah. I was there the other day, and I took JoJo with me. So now JoJo's if you wondered what JoJo's hyperfixation is right now, country line dancing. Like we've been going at it. And like it was the first time I took her, and I was like, and like honestly, this guy I'm talking to, very involved. Like if I don't know the dance, I'll be dancing, he'll kick me off the floor. Like that's how serious he takes it. And I think it's hysterical, but like it'll be the 2-step, and I'll look to Judge like it's my time, and then he'll dance with somebody else, and I'm like biting the curb in 4K, and then Judge is like, "Fuck it, we're dancing together," and then we're out there like just like doing our own little dancing dance.
That's so fun, though. I love that. What a cool activity.
It's so fun. Yeah, it's really fun.
Okay, well, speaking of dancing, let's dive a little deeper now into your experience this season. When and how did you find out that you were going to become a pro?
I was finishing rehearsal because, like I said earlier, I was doing that Broadway workshop thing. And I went to my friend's place after because she's like, "I got a wicked cool patio at my place." I'm like, "I don't care, but I'm going to go anyway." So I went to this patio, and I get a call from Dina Katz, which is the casting director of Dancing with the Stars. And full transparency, I didn't think I was being asked back this season. Like, I just didn't think.
What made you think that?
Things I can't disclose on a podcast. But there were some changes that were being made this season. I was like, wow, like it's going to be a lot tougher to get on the show. And when she called me, I was like, oh, she's probably going to call me like and tell me like no. But I thought that was really strange because like if that were the case, like she would text me, like she knows I'm a texter at this point. She calls me and she goes, "I've just been making like such bad news today. I need to give good news." I'm like, "What the fuck? Good news? Like, what are you talking about?" And then she told me like I was going to be a pro and it's my time and I deserve it. Like she just said nothing but the nicest things. And when I tell you, the look on my face was giving, like, I found out my dog got hit by a car, and like I was literally just like, Dina was like, "Are you okay?" I'm like, "Sorry, I'm just like processing this." Like I just couldn't believe it. Like, you know, when you've waited for something for so long, and it happens, and you're like, "Holy shit!" Like this is actually happening right now. But yeah, and then my sister came over too, and I told her, I was like, "It's an emergency! Like you need to get over here." So she like ran over to her place, and I told my sister, and that's when the waterworks came in, because, you know, my sister was that reminder of when I was a kid really wanting it, and seeing her cry, like she was so proud of me. But then I saw myself when I was a kid watching the show and being like, you know what, one day I would love to be a pro in Dancing with the Stars. And the crazy thing is that happened, and now I get to live this dream, and it's unreal. It is unreal.
Yeah. And your sister has been alongside you for a lot of your career, I believe, like on So You Think You Can Dance, you were both on there at similar times, right? Yeah. So I can imagine now this is even more full circle to have done this all together, because she's also a part of this season. Did she find out at the same time as you found out you were a pro?
I got the hint a little bit. I didn't know for sure. But, you know, it was like, hey, look, and not to like jinx anything, it's very highly like your sister is going to be on the season 2. And that's when I was like, what the fuck? Like I literally couldn't believe it. My sister's been trying to get on the show for 4 years, and for longer than that. So like, when she, like, I literally was the happiest camper. But I didn't want to tell my sister because I didn't want to jinx it for her. When my sister got the call, it was the same news. And yeah, it's unreal, because like at the end of the day, like your sibling is your best friend. Like whether you like it or not, you're gonna argue, you're gonna fight, but no one knows you better than your sibling. And there's something about being on Dancing with Stars, like when it's those hard days, I can just look at my sister and I know I have someone that has my back no matter what. So this season has been an absolute dream as far as like fulfilling my inner childhood dream with my sibling. Like it's unreal.
Honestly, like a weird like magic, a weirdly magical like fate like moment, you know, to get to be doing this together and supporting one another. Crazy how the world works sometimes. Yeah. And it was so cool too to see like how thrilled everyone was. I feel like for like the past like year and a half, like whenever I was getting like Dancing with the Stars side of TikTok, like everyone in the comments was just like, Ezra win, Ezra win, Ezra win. So like getting to see you up there and not only just represent like Gen Z and young people, but also like the gay community, and to have that visibility for people, I think is so cool and important. And you did it really so incredibly.
Thanks. The other day I was out and about, and some guy came up to me. He's like, "Oh my God, you're Ezra." And I was like, "Hi." Like I was like, "Nice to meet you." And he almost started crying. So I almost started crying, but he was saying how much it meant to him to see himself represented on that show. And like I remember being a kid too, and like watching it, I was like, dang, like I don't know if I could be a gay man on the show, even though Louis Van Amstel was there. But I mean, like,
was he the first?
Like he was the first, yeah. Okay. So it was like one gay man, all of them were straight. I'm like, dang, like those are tough odds. Like I don't know. And I think this year too is the first time I fully like accepted myself and my identity, but also just like wearing it proudly, like on my skin, in front of my coworkers, in front of my peers, in front of my superiors. And I think it's really refreshing that this season as a pro, like I'm fully like just myself unapologetically, and the world is just reacting to it in such a positive way. There's no greater feeling.
It's awesome. I feel like everyone's on Team Ezra for sure.
Hashtag Team Ezra.
The other half of Team Ezra this season was Anna Delvey.
Yes. The Anna Delvey of it all, yes.
Yeah, the enigma, the character, the icon, you could say.
Yeah.
When did you find out that she was going to be your partner?
So, I knew there was like I knew she, like, okay, now that I know what I know, she was my partner from the jump. Like, I just knew it, like, from the jump, she was going to be my partner.
Like, when you got the call, you knew.
When I got the call, the casting director was like, "You're just so patient and you're so kind and you're going to be so patient and you're going to be," she just kept on saying patient. And I'm just sitting there, I'm like, who the fuck do I'm like, who is, what? Like, I was like, who do I have? So when I got the call, like usually they don't tell you who your partner is, but she told me because it's a big moment. Like nothing like this has ever happened before. And she also had to tell me that I was rehearsing in New York too. So I had to like prepare myself for that. But I was on the treadmill and she told me about fell off. Like she was like, "Do you know Anna Delvey?" And I was like, "Oh," I was like, "Wait, like the real Anna Delvey, like the real one?" She says, "Yes, like she's going on the show." And I was like, "Dina, you are a genius. This is going to be such good TV. I have no idea what's going to happen, but I'm so scared and stressed anyway." So that's how I found out. It was nuts though. It was so weird.
Yeah, I mean, definitely quite the pairing. I remember like seeing the cast. There was like rumored cast lists on Twitter going around, and then I think shortly after you were announced, it was like, yeah, it's got to be Ezra and Anna.
It's
and
got to be Anna Delvey.
Yeah, what a duo, truly. Like sent shockwaves around the nation. When did you meet her for the first time?
So, because of her schedule, we could only do, like, you're supposed to do your first meet and then do promos. Like, that was everyone's agenda. But because she only had, like, one day.
Are the promos, like, the photos and stuff that you take?
Yeah, all the photos, all the BTS, all that kind of stuff. So, we only had one day to do all of that. So, I actually met her at her promo before I actually met her on the show. So, I knew she was my partner, and they're like, "She's here." I was like, do we talk to her? Like, am I supposed to talk to her? And then finally one of the producers like, "You probably should say hi to your partner because you're about to take pictures with her." So POV, I'm just like standing there and it's like Anna Delvey and she's like walking past and I go, "Oh, hi." Didn't even acknowledge me. It was so funny. Like, yeah. And then I was like, "Oh." And then I ran, like I did my little game run to her and I tapped her shoulder. I was like, "Hi, I'm Ezra. Like, I'm gonna be your partner this season." And then she was so nice and so sweet. But I remember
so she didn't know who you were at first.
No, she didn't. Well, she didn't even know she didn't even know like she was gonna have a partner. Like she didn't know what she got herself into. So like she probably was like, "Who is this gay guy?" Like, "Hey, it's nice to meet you." But yeah, so crazy. But I remember like we were in the trailer too, and like. Promo day, there's a lot of cooks in the kitchen. Like, you're doing a photo shoot, different director for that, different director for this and this and that. And we're in her trailer, and she's like, the only question she has, like, when we do this show, like, do we have to, like, interact with, like, everyone? I was like, "We don't." And in that moment, I knew it was like, regardless, I'm going to have a hoot and a holla with you. This is going to be so much fun.
Yeah. From there, I assume you went into rehearsals with her ahead of the premiere. Outside of what we saw on TV, what were those rehearsals actually like?
Full transparency, we did have a lot of fun moments in rehearsal, but like I think most of our film moments were outside of rehearsal.
Okay.
I would say, yeah, like in rehearsal was a bit harder because that's when we had to put in the work. And I mean, she likes to ride in style, and she'll have her little moment, but also like it's a very vulnerable experience. So I think she was very scared going into rehearsal because that's when she actually had to dance. And
yeah,
I think a part of her was kind of scared about that aspect. And yeah, but literally we would leave studios and like kiki the whole time. But like we would walk in there and like she wasn't even rude. Like she would just shut off. Like she would just not really say anything. And it's really like overwhelming for me because I'm a person that likes response, and she just like wasn't doing it. And I'm like, and I just had to remind myself, I was like, she must be so uncomfortable being here, but also so scared and terrified because she is about to dance in front of millions of people, and it's a very vulnerable experience.
Yeah. It takes a lot of trust, I would imagine, and like
absolutely
pulling down those barriers to help someone come in a short period and like teach you something you have no idea how to do.
But then you have to look at her background. I was like, you could only imagine how hard it is for her to trust anyone, let alone a gay twink about to teach her cha-cha-cha. Like, it was like the contrast is crazy here.
So you were like completely rehearsing in New York and then going to LA for the shows?
Just for the first week. But then after the first week, we were in LA. Yeah.
Okay, can we talk about that first week? I have a question that I need to clear up. When you started your dance and you walked down the stairs, was she supposed to grab your hand or not?
She spoke about it to me a couple times, and I was like, please don't do that. Please don't do that. She thought it'd be funny. But
Oh, she thought okay, she thought it'd be funny.
it was a creative decision that she intended to make.
Okay,
And maybe
okay, creative director.
I was like, she told me that, and I was like, that would be so iconic and viral. I was like, let's probably not do it. But I think all she heard was, that's so iconic and viral, and she was like, we're gonna do it. But my JoJo was at the show when she did it, because JoJo knows our routine, because like she's popped in rehearsal a couple times with us.
Yeah.
When it happened, I looked at her and she was like, she's gonna go rogue. She's gonna go rogue. Thankfully, she went through the whole routine. But yeah,
was the vibe in the ballroom good when you guys did that dance?
I didn't even notice it. But I think one thing I will say, it's a little shady putting us right after Riley and Steven, and we're even standing there. They killed their first week was one of their best weeks, and they're obviously like a very much crowd favorite. So like when they're going, the audience was erupting, and I think following that was very, very hard, very hard.
Yeah, and in my opinion, calling out any sort of vibe shift was a choice. But
she said that. I was like, well, I didn't notice the vibe shift until you pointed it out to Stuart Sean. I was like, okay, where? Like, I don't know what you're talking about.
As you go into week 2, you're on social media, and I will say, Ezra, you have done an absolutely incredible job. One, like bringing new people into the show, getting people excited about it, but also like staying so positive and like leaning into any sort of like negativity and making it fun and a joke and unserious. Like, chef's kiss. Like you ate that.
I may not be able to teach a convicted felon how to dance, but I can make a TikTok. So that is one thing I'm like, okay, you can do TikTok.
Hey, I would give yourself some more credit. She danced both of her dances.
She got better. Like she did get better, and she was like towards the end of it, she got so into it, and I was like, dang. I was like, only if we had this energy week 1, but like. It was like right before our second show, like where she was eliminated. She looked at me and she goes, Ezra, can you help me smile? And I was like, oh, like I was so touched. And I was like, yes. I was like, finally she's tapping into it. And then we got eliminated. But yes, moving on.
Heartbreaking. Well, speaking of her smiling, I remember like seeing, there was a clip on Twitter, I think, that was her in the background of like one of the shots when they get the scores. And she was like smiling and all happy. And then she noticed she was on camera and she was like, I mean, she was serving face card, okay? And I respect her for that.
Well, she's beautiful. Like, she's a really cute, like, she's really beautiful. Like, her eyes?
Yeah.
Stunning. And she has a nice smile, too. Mm-hmm. So whenever she smiled, I was like, I don't think you understand. You have a nice smile. Like, there's nothing, like, I was trying to unpack it, but yeah.
She did smile. I saw some smiles in that second dance, but
yeah, I
want to talk about that week in between, like, when there's these people being so loud and sharing their hot takes online and like trying to tear down her being cast and you as a partnership, like you've spoken to this a little bit on your Instagram, but like how did you as her partner, how did you try to support her during that time?
Oh, it was tough. The day after, like, also think about, like, you watch the show, you don't even think about it until the next week. Literally after the show, we have rehearsal the next morning. Like, there's no time to even process that. Like, it's so hard coming back to any show, especially that being our first show. And it was really hard because if she wasn't closed off, she is not, like, she was even more because she really... Yeah, it's such a vulnerable experience, and to see people like not really rooting for you as much as they were everyone else, it's tough. And like I said towards the beginning, being a pro, it's not about you. And I was trying my best to give her the best experience possible. And in that moment, I was like, dang, I was starting to realize, I was like, I was at my limit. She was at her limit. And I was being like, maybe I can't do this. Like, maybe I can't be the person to give her this great positive experience. And it was really heartening for both of us. It really was.
Yeah. I mean, it's I think it's unfair, Ezra, to put like the soul of the burden on you. Like, it was so clear that you were like doing the absolute best that you could. And I can imagine it could feel like the whole world was like trying to come after both of you and ridicule you, especially when it's someone that you're trying your darndest to give a good experience.
Yeah.
I mean, that can be hard. As you've reflected on it a little bit, like, is there anything that you learned?
Honestly, something that I learned is something I relearned when I was a kid. So when I was a kid at dance studio, our studio director, Miss Kim Del Grosso, who is a lot of actually the pros on the show, she was also their director too. Like, we all came from the same dance studio. Whenever there was drama, she would sit us down and she'd say, before you walk in that dance studio, I want you to put all of your drama, all of the negativity, and put it on a coat hanger. And when you walk in the studio, let it only be about dance. And when I first started dancing with Anna, I started feeling very overwhelmed because I'm standing there stressed, being like, what is America going to think? What is America going to think of her? What is America going to think of me? How can I get her to open up more? Like, there were so many things that I was like really stressed about, and I was really bringing in all of the outside noise into the room. I mean, like, we both were. Like, at that point, we both were. And finally, like, I remember that thought when I was a kid, and I was like, you know what? Whenever we step into this dance studio, we're going to let all the controversy out. And we're only going to let it be just about the dance. And I think after I kind of mentioned that, it definitely, like, it was a vibe shift, and we really just started enjoying each other's presence a lot more.
Yeah. Well, that second week, it was clear that the vibes were up and you were having some more fun, and there was like a little bit more positivity in bidding. I think you even said, like, that second week, she was like, Ezra, teach me to smile. And she was smiling. It's a shame that, like, you guys couldn't have had a full season to, like, see that, you know, trajectory and see her continue to grow.
Right. I mean, hey, I always think, too, I was like, if we were somehow saved that night, we wouldn't have had one of the most iconic exits in Dancing with the Stars history. So, and I don't know, like, I don't know if I could have lived without that, because now it's tattooed on my body forever.
Well, can we play that moment for people who aren't familiar, and then we can unpack it?
Yes.
What are you going to take away from this competition?
Nothing.
There you have it.
Okay, wait, can I just say, the highlight looks so good on my face.
Nothing.
That highlight looks so good.
The face card.
Face card was crazy. So, okay, we're eliminated, and both Anna and I had PR training, okay?
Yes.
And I looked at her, and I just saw that all the PR training just left the
Wait,
head.
what do you mean?
And
Did you, like, go through training before this event, before this moment?
Yeah, her team had us go both do it. Right when we were eliminated. Hoo-wee mama. I was like, all that money down the toilet. She started walking up. They saw her face started to turn red a little bit. I was like, and then I started getting nervous because I was like, I don't know what she's going to say. Then she said nothing, and I just was like, oh my God. I was like, oh my God, but in the best way. I was like, she would. Like, honestly, she would. Like, come on. Like, I wouldn't expect anything else from her.
It was the nothing heard around the world.
Yeah. And it's followed me ever since.
When it did, like, blow up everywhere, how did that feel for you?
I guess it's really cool. It's also really weird, right? Because it's like, we were eliminated first, which no matter what, getting eliminated first sucks. But now in a weird sense, it's being, like, glorified. And you're like, I don't know how I feel about this. But I think as far as, like, the outreach it had was so insane to see and very surreal to see. And the aftermath of it all was also crazy. It was insane.
This whole, like, Anna Delvey cycle, so iconic. I think my favorite moment was the on-air correction that she made the co-host of The View make. Was so hilarious. I don't know if you saw it, but it literally was like she was being held at gunpoint.
She was telling me about it. She goes, I'm sending a cease and desist. I'm like, to who? She goes, to Whoopi Goldberg. I'm like, what? Like, I literally just saw you yesterday. Like, what could have happened between the day before and now? Like, literally not much has changed. And I was like, honestly, work. Like, yeah, like you better. And then they made their arrangement. I was like, she was so happy that day. I was like, you better get your bag.
She was doing the damn thing.
Yeah, she did. And she put the View through the ringer. But also, I think the View had her as like a Halloween costume.
You and Anna. It was like little mini Ezra.
Yeah, it was like me and Anna.
Yeah.
I was like, this is very ironic work. Okay, I guess we're all over it.
I guess you made it to like a culturally significant moment of the year, which, hey, that's pretty iconic.
Yeah, so hilarious. Yeah. I saw someone too, like an influencer sent me like, they even wrote some like the attention to detail. They wrote nothing where I got my tattoo.
Oh, really? Oh my gosh. There's some gay person on that staff.
Yeah, for real.
While we're still talking about this season, there's been a lot of other things that have happened, one of which we kind of touched on earlier, but dancing with your sister on the show in like a formal capacity, beyond like finding out and knowing it was going to happen, when you actually were on that dance floor with her by your side, how did you feel?
I was just so proud of her. And I think I've been mentioning it, but I don't say it enough. But like, she's been doing such a good first season. She did a lot better her first season than I did mine. And I'm just so happy she's getting her flowers, because she really worked so hard and she's looking really good. Her energy is so good. Like, the growth that she's had as a person outside of the show is immaculate. And so I think everything happens for a reason, and the universe's timing was impeccable, because she really shined so much this season, and it's like insane. It's so insane.
It's so cool to see, like, you know, a next generation of dancers and getting their time in the spotlight, and like
it's so
getting
important.
to
like, it is so important, because you also see like Riley and I, and like you see what happens when you bring a fresh face to the show. It changes the energy, it changes the dynamic. Social media game is a lot different. And I think it's really good that they really are starting to see and understand that. So that's what makes me happy. Because, like, there's no other opportunity than doing that. Like, that is bigger than doing Dancing with the Stars as far as, like, being in the dance world. So I just hope that with what Riley and I are doing, it's opening more doors for people who are so deserving to be on that show.
I feel like it's been one of, like, the strongest seasons. Like, so fun, so engaged, like, across generations. Like, you and Riley, you guys are rallying up those Gen Z voters and breaking those voting records. Like,
getting those pros to do TikToks. I'm like, come here, Emma. Come here, Sasha. We're doing it. I'm like pulling him by the ear. Like, come on, we're doing this TikTok today.
And then you have Gleb and Brooks making their dueling TikToks back and forth. I feel like you've been like really plugged into this. Can you give people, like, those who are listening to this who maybe aren't familiar, like, essentially they started as like a showmance, right? Or was it actually like serious from your perspective?
If you want my honest opinion,
yeah, please.
Genuinely couldn't tell you anything. If there's one thing about Gleb, like, he'll tell you about his like love life, like, and we're all pretty tapped in, but for the first time we're like, how's it going? It's going good. And we're all just like, what, like, and then we'll be like, how's it going? We broke up. Crickets. I'm like, okay, well, you got to give us some context here. This is the first time I genuinely don't know what it is, and I think that's kind of the lore of it all. And like the fact, the reason why I'm so tapped in and our whole cast is tapped in is because genuinely nobody knows what's going on. Literally none of us do.
Well, would you see them like doing PDA off camera?
Yeah, the PDA was strong. Like, I'm not gonna lie, the PDA was pretty strong. And I remember I had them do TikTok. I was like, can I do a TikTok of you guys kissing? And Brooks was like, can we like look each other instead? I'm like, weird flex, but okay. I was like, sure. And then they're looking. I was like, I think I'm going to post that.
Yeah, I think you would have to put a trigger warning in front of that. You know, just and maybe that's not safe for that website. You know, I don't know if licking each other.
They're both just like so hot. Like, they're both so hot. Like, let's be honest here. And for me, like a gay man, like, I love seeing like a hot diva with like a hot eye candy, and I was just living for it all. Like, I really was.
I am seated for the latest dueling TikToks back and forth, and you know, maybe love will come through in the end, and the finale will happen, and they'll be getting married. I mean, you never know what's going to happen. It's live television, right?
I think we'll see what happens in the finale, but I'm sad. Regardless, I'm sad. This finale should be good. This finale will be really good. All these characters coming back. I'm like, dang, this is gonna
Is
be.
Anna coming back for the finale?
Genuinely don't know. I don't know.
You
I don't know if
know?
she wants to
Okay.
come back. I don't know if the show wants her to come back. I don't know.
Is it like a requirement to come back, or is it a choice? For usually.
I think it is contractual, but like
Yeah.
I feel like because I've seen a couple of articles of like Anna Delvey not asked back to the show, and I'm like sitting there and I'm like, I feel like if this were the case, like because I still don't know what's going on. If this were the case,
Yeah.
like I would have had that discussion with like producers, like hey, like just letting you know, but like I never did, so I'm just like I don't know, like literally finale, don't know what's gonna happen. We'll see what happens.
Okay, well, maybe it'll be you, Gleb, and Brooks announcing yourselves as a throuple.
Trio.
I mean, maybe that could
Yeah.
be.
At this point.
One other couple more recently that everyone has been speculating over is Jen and Sasha. I mean, to give a little lore here, I mean, Jonathan was in the audience like every week. It was so cute. Like everyone thought they were getting back together, and then I feel like I missed a chapter, and
I
suddenly
think we all missed a
she's with
couple, like,
Sasha.
Yeah, I mean, same thing with Brooke and Gleb. Like, I don't know anything going on, and I like maybe that's I don't know. Like no. I feel like people honestly at this point maybe they just don't want to tell me because then I'll spread it on the internet. So I think it's better that way. But
That's good.
I
yeah.
do sense like I've never seen them do anything personally, but I do see chemistry between the two of them, and like
Okay.
I do really do ship them. I really like them together,
Okay.
but I don't know. I'm so sorry. I wish I had another
No,
other.
No, but they're so cute. I support it. I support love, and Jen clearly deserves love.
She deserves her rose. Like, yeah. And
Yes.
I, like, honestly, what better way to like have a heartbreak and than like Dancing with the Stars and like having like a hot little coach and having a little flame. But, you know, I don't really know what's going on with that.
While we're talking about the cast, I just need to thirst over two of them for a second.
Danny Amendola.
Danny and Joey. Yeah, Danny.
Joey.
Oh my gosh. Ezra,
Stop.
you should see my girlfriends when we have our watch parties. Like, I think they're like, it's like you could hear a pin drop because everyone is locked in for that
He is so
routine.
fun. Yeah.
So
he's just so
fun.
nice too. He's so
Yeah.
and he's a dude. Like he's a dude, and that makes him even hotter. I'm like, God, you couldn't get any hotter. But he's
Yeah.
just like so nice and sweet, and like I think he kind of he's like tapped in with the internet with like my obsession with him. So he'll be like, "Ah, you're looking beautiful today," and he just like seeing me flustered. I'm like,
If he said that to me, I'd probably like literally fall over. Like my heart would just stop beating.
I was like leaving. I was leaving an event with Riley, and Danny was like, we like ran into him, and he goes, "Oh wow, you guys look beautiful tonight." And we were walking. I was like, "Riley, he called me beautiful," and Riley was like, "No, he called me beautiful." So this is before Riley was beautiful. Like, it was so funny.
Yeah. Speaking of Riley, like her and her man are so cute. So happy for her. One thing you said you want to talk about is last night you were at the LA Kings game. How
Yes.
was it?
It was fun because we got to get along with everyone. But here's the lore of it all. Okay, ready? We were on the jumbotron, and this is giving you a little hint of my love life right now. Okay, and then I'm going through my DMs. Right, someone says, "Is that you I just saw on the King's jumbotron?" And I'm like, so sus. And I'm looking at this. I won't show you who he is. Fine, like he is so cute, and I get it. And I'm up with all the pros. I'm like,
Can you text me him just so I can see?
Yeah, I can text you. But I might be going back with him to a game because he's obsessed with it.
So you've potentially found your spark to replace the cowboy dancing man. And now your new
but-
hyperfixation can be hockey.
No, I'm like, no, honestly, have you been to a hockey game?
Yeah.
It's so
So fun,
hot.
right?
Like all these guys, just like hot, muscular guys, like wrestling each other. I'm like, sign me up. I was like, I want to be front row next time. Like, I want to see their face. Like, there were some players that were super cute. And I feel like when you go to like a football game, you're like, some of them look a little crusty on the edges there. But hockey players are really hot.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay. Well, I support you in your hockey phase of your life. I think you could be what do they have? Like the Real Football Wives or Basketball Wives? You could be a hockey husband.
The hockey wife.
That has a nice ring to it.
Like, honestly, like, if hockey had a time limit, it's giving, like, 4 months max, maybe 2 weeks.
Okay.
Like, we'll see what happens.
Okay.
Like, obviously not. I'm not gonna get committed to someone. I'm 23. Like we're just here for a good time.
Fair. Well, I'm being sarcastic, but I do support. You know, you have to test out your different types of work, and then you can, after the completion of trying all these different work fields, you can see which ones are the best, and maybe write like a self-help book for the gay community on like what are the best types of people to date and the pros and cons of each industry.
See, now that's personal preference, baby. Because maybe you're gonna run into someone wearing a Wicked shirt, and you're gonna be floored, and I'm gonna run into someone with a Wicked shirt, and I'm gonna be like, "What is going on here?"
I promise I'm not that crazy, Ezra. I promise you.
Just
more
so, like, look, I'm not like I don't want people to see this and like bash me for like not liking Wicked. It's not like I don't like Wicked. I just haven't
seen it. Well, again, when you do give your review, like you text me that, I'll put it on the podcast story so people know that maybe you've been changed for good.
Yeah, I'll be like, I'm a hockey girl now, or I'll be like, yeehaw. Like I don't know what the next thing is. But we'll
who knows? Maybe you'll love your musical theater gaze. Maybe you'll tap into that eventually. Lastly here, I wanted to ask you, because there's been so many Utah and Mormon-related reality shows as of late. I know you grew up in Utah. You used to be Mormon. So I thought we could end with a quick brainstorm, okay? If you and Stephanie were to be pitched like a reality show about you two, what do we think this could be? Like, what type of show would you want to be on with your sister that's not a dance competition show?
I love this because now that my sister and I, like now my sister's getting a platform, and now me and my sister are becoming a thing, and we're really chatting about like what we stand for, what we represent for, like, but as like siblings. And I told her, I was like honestly, like, let's be transparent. Like, if we're gonna fight, let's fight. If people want to know about it, let's let them know about it. Because really, like, having a sibling is about having those struggles and those hardships. Like, it's not going to be fun all the time. But one thing about my family, outside of my sister, it is drama central. Like, it is. My mom is like in her whole like Mother Earthly arc era, and it's like hysterical. My dad was like arrested 3 different times. My brother lives in Vegas. Like, like, okay, King, you get your back, maybe not, I don't know. But there's a lot of like layers that happened in our family, specifically in Utah. Like, we were a minority in Utah, and I was like the minority of the minority because I was gay and Hispanic. But like, I definitely can see my family having a reality show. Maybe of us like going and like doing our dance gigs, or like us in the season, and like we're fighting about like me wanting to get a cat and she doesn't because the guy she's talking to is allergic to cats. Like, just stupid stuff like that. But I think, like, as far as that goes, like, I'm not ashamed of any issues that my family has had, because everyone has their issues. Yeah. And I don't ever want to live in my own shame. Like, I don't. And I feel like a lot of people in the public eye, they do. And they are very hesitant on showing that side of people. But, like, that's no way to live your life. It really isn't. Yeah, absolutely. Well, Hulu, Disney Plus, if you're listening, like, sign the Sosa siblings up. Girl, we'll give you Who and Holla. Like, we'll give you the whole. Absolutely. We'll give you everything. Absolutely. Well, Ezra, thank you so much for these giggles and fun and a little bit of laughter to end this week. Of course. We'll do one every year. Yes. We can check in on your progress, unpack your latest partner, and all of that. Okay. Well, thank you so much, Ezra. Have a great rest of your day. Of course. Yes, you too. Okay, bye. Bye.